Right here. Okay.
The same one.
The same class we had the last time.
No, professor?
Oh,
Unhanded.
it's coming. Why is I doing this? Is that your the people?
Those? They are.
Your leader.
The other lady, she's Iraqi, was not that one. She's Arab. She's an Arab.
She's taking the same course with us?
No,
What class is she?
another class. No idea.
How are you? What's up with you? How are you doing? Is everything shining?
What am I supposed to say?
What are you supposed to say? What's up with you?
So what? Oh, yeah. I heard you applied for it. And then, the thing I don't want. I don't know if I need to. It's still there. Financial management is still there. Why not? Because it's not very good.
giving us our business.
Yes.
I'm tired of software. I don't get any. I don't get nothing. Yes.
Did you find an accommodation?
Hey, Christina.
Good, how are you?
No, not the interesting.
Going with two this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. That's right on track. Yeah,
Excuse me. I would like to ask, where's the classroom be?
Classroom, okay.
Upstairs, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, your class is going to be. Dr. Case's class? Yes. Yes, I'm going to be in here. You're welcome. You're off the room.
What happened? Doctor yesterday. No idea. He's already opening this computer, so. Online. No, no.
Alam mo na kung ano,
Party. All right. All right. Everybody okay tonight? Yeah, yes, no, maybe. What's that? What'd you say? Yeah. Not raining out or hailing or. Who saw the snow? This is the snow?
Yeah, when?
Julia.
2 years before.
Yeah.
Saw it? I have a picture.
Before you went to Julia?
No, it snowed in San Diego.
Here?
Yeah, downtown.
So this was my car in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah,
This
yeah.
was my car.
I live downtown and it was snowing.
So like-
Very interesting. It's just weird seeing people on the beach like, oh my goodness, snow. I'm like, let's go here, East Coast. There's plenty of that, okay?
It was 2 days before.
Yeah, 2 days ago,
exactly.
yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah. Good luck.
And then suddenly the rain happened, so it was like.
Nobody's on Zoom, huh? Okay, so make sure everybody's in the right class, ORG6011, organizational development and change management, all right? Everybody in the same good class? Okay, cool. All right, those of you who don't know me, of course, Dr. K's, had class with a number of you already. So it should be pretty smooth going, okay? So before we start, let's lay down some rules, okay? Try to be on time, all right, as much as possible. I understand you guys are probably doing other things and life and traffic and whatever the case may be, which is fine, all right? If you're not gonna make it to class, just email me. Just let me know, hey, I'm not gonna make it to class. I don't even know why. This is a professional courtesy, so I know what to expect, as far as class members, all right? You need to take a phone call, just go out. You need the bathroom, just go. All right, don't raise your hand, don't need to stop me. Just go take care of your business, okay? And if you have to leave and not come back, don't worry about it. I will notice that you're gone. Okay, it's a small class, so it's okay. Try to keep all the side chatter to a minimum, right? All the sidebars and talking to each other. It throws me off because I'm very inquisitive by nature. So if I hear you talking, I want to know what you're talking about. Because I might want to participate myself, right? It may be an interesting conversation. Come on in, right? So keep those to at a minimum, of course. you can speak to each other about, things that are going on in class, but for the most part, if it's something that's, intriguing or compelling, hey, let the class know, maybe we can talk about it, all right? So we'll talk about different things. We're not always gonna just stick to org development and change management, just because everything that we learn in school is somehow attached to what's going on in our day-to-day lives, all right? You may not think it's associated, but it is, all right? Whatever it is, I can connect it to something going on in the real world, okay, at all times. So it's important that we kind of stay connected and bring the real world into the theoretical, right? Because this is all theoretical stuff. When you're in school, theoretical, pie in the sky, that sounds great. When you go in the real world, practical, right, is a little different, okay? Some things don't necessarily work in the real world as you see them in the textbook and as it's written. So we have to be able to kind of put the two together, see where they meet in the middle, see what works, and then if that doesn't work, and hey, I tried that in a real setting, it didn't work. All right, so okay, well, it didn't work, may not have worked for you, you may not have the right factors or condition. So it's a learning lesson, okay? So the next point is that this class is an open forum again to talk, right? Don't take anything personally, all right? No one's gonna disrespect you. I'm not gonna let anyone disrespect you, be it religion, gender, race, whatever it is. No one's gonna get disrespected in the class, okay? If it's disrespect, I will take care of it right away, all right? So we don't condone that in any manner, form, shape, whatever the case may be. But I like discussions, I like debates, I like people, having different perspectives, because everybody here brings a different thing to the table, right? We're all here for the most part from different places. We have different values, different cultures, different understanding of things. And so it's interesting to see, what you guys think and what each other thinks and, what I think, and then just kind of throw in the middle and see, what we can get from each other. All right. I'm learning as much from you as you are from me. Okay. I'm not really here to teach. I'm here to learn. I'm also here to kind of guide. Okay. That's all I'm here for. I'm really guidance. Okay. Let's see, what else? If you have a question, just ask it. No such thing as a dumb question, unless I say it's a dumb question. That question's dumb. Okay, I'll tell you. Don't worry, I'm not scared to tell you that's a stupid question. All right. Let's see what else. Turn in your work. Okay. That's all I can say. If you don't turn your work in, can't help you. All right. So it's just one of those things. No work. Like my coach, I box. My coach always says, no money, no honey. Okay, anybody know what that means? All right, yeah. No work, no grade. Well, that at least a grade you want. And you'll get a grade. It's not really what you want. Yes, we probably come on in.
See, everybody's in or you have a big class.
Yeah. Well, that kind of, I'll say 70% here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 out of 14 right now. So
No, you got 15 now.
I have 15 now? Oh, okay. All right, 15 now. All right. So what was I saying? Can't remember. See, I get thrown off easily. All right. Aside from that, any questions? No, turn your work in. Right. Okay, next point. I understand that some people, English is not their first language here, right? For the majority of the class, that's not it. Okay. So what I suggest you do is you find somebody who's a little more well-versed in English, especially when it comes to the writing. Okay, the speaking, not so much. The writing, you need to find somebody that you can, kind of help you out, that will proofread and just make sure your paragraph and sentence structures are correct. You got to listen to me when I'm telling you about the APA stuff. I got my APA manual here today. Water with me, okay? The writing is critical. Right? If you can't really master that, it makes it hard for me to evaluate you properly, because I can't disregard the fact that you don't write well, but I know it's because you don't necessarily have a mastery of the English language. It's not because you're stupid. All right, you're smart, it's just that it's a different language. Okay, so you have to get some additional help, some additional resources. So I would suggest that you find somebody. If not, go to the school, ask them if they have any resources that can aid you in making sure that whatever you write, I'm not talking about your LEs, Talking about like if you write a paper, case study, something, that's more than one page, right? Before you submit that you get that reviewed to make sure that it's in accordance with our writing format, okay? How to build a paragraph, how to punctuate a sentence, how to punctuate your citation, how to number things, how to start sentences, what words get capitalized and what words don't get capitalized, right? Those are little things for me. Anybody that speaks English, we take for granted because it's our language, right? But at the same time, if you're gonna be here in school and English is the primary language, I need you to be good at it, okay? Be good at writing. So you need to do whatever you need to do and get somebody to help you out if that's the case, okay? So I'm assuming who's taking that first class? Is this class? First class, okay. Okay. So we'll give you a little slack, we'll give everybody else slack to begin with. The first week is always kind of like my way to gauge and kind of evaluate all the students, kind of see where they're at. But don't forget, this is a graduate level program, and it's not undergrad. And so I approach it a little differently. And I expect more out of you because it is a graduate program, right? You come from wherever you come from, all the way to the United States to come to school to a grad program to get a master's, then you should probably put up effort into it and kind of rise to the responsibility, okay, as graduate students, as adults. All right, some of you have kids and married maybe, families and have responsibility, real responsibility. I don't have any of that. Okay, I don't have any kids, I'm not married, don't have any of that. So what I'm saying is that you already have bigger responsibilities than I have, all right? So the little ones you need to take care of. The little ones are school, all right? The little ones are make sure, you turn everything in, make sure you do your LE on time, making sure things are done in a professional manner, okay? And that kind of thing, okay? Let's see. I think that's it. All right. So before I go into the syllabus, all right, I like to do a little intro because I'm not sure if everybody knows each other, especially we have two new first timers. So just go around the room, your name, where you're from, what degree you're pursuing. Well, just skip the degree part, we already know, unless there's an emphasis that you're pursuing. And what you plan on doing with the degree, if you don't know, no big deal. Okay, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so who wants to start? Anybody? Yeah, fine. Okay, we'll start.
I'm from Jordan.
Okay.
I was living in Dubai.
What's your name?
And my name is Ahmed.
Ahmed, okay.
I'm planning to.
Ahmed, which Ahmed? Which one?
South on my land. So
S.
S.
Okay, okay, all right.
I'm planning to use the knowledge that I will learn in the master business administration to use it in my own business.
Okay, what's your business?
I will create one.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. I thought you said you had a business. Like, what is it? I want to
I
know.
use it and I will create another one.
Okay. Oh, you already had a business.
Yeah, and I use it and I will have.
What was your business
I
before?
will have office in accounting and auditing.
Okay, all right. Is that what your degree's in? Your
Yeah.
undergrad? Accounting? Okay, all right, good, all right, cool, nice. Okay,
My turn.
yes, sir.
So, all right. Kaysam Stamen,
Okay.
Jordanian, originally from Palestine,
Mhm.
doing MBA here.
Okay.
It's been 5 months since I came here,
Mhm.
and yeah, there we are.
Okay, Jordanian in Palestine, huh?
Yes.
How's that going?
No, not great.
Not great?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right. Weren't the Palestinians in Jordan? They were just in Jordan for the peace talks, right?
Correct.
Yes, this week in Jordan. Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
You were there?
No, I mean, no. I have nothing to do with peace talks.
Yeah.
No, the Israelis and Palestinians were in Jordan.
They were always fine.
Yeah, they were in Jordan talking peace and settlements and
Never knew that.
yes,
Yeah.
a couple of days ago. So
It's not gonna be all right.
no, it's not gonna be all right.
I'm sure about that.
Yeah, I'm sure about that. Nothing's gonna change.
Thanks for saying.
No worries. Miss Christina?
Deborah, and I am actually from Montana. I went to the before I moved out here in 2006. I've been out here about 17 years. I'm working for the Department of Defense. And I'm taking a course or program so I can hopefully for a while.
Cool. All right. Your turn, sir.
Muhammad from
Mohammed.
Jordan.
Okay.
My degree is in baccalaureate in pharmacy.
Okay.
Yeah, I taking my MBA
Mhm.
just to improve my career
Okay.
and get an opportunity to open my own business.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe here,
Maybe
maybe
here.
in Jordan.
Maybe enjoy.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay.
It's my first class.
First class, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna take a little
Nice to
time.
meet you all.
Nice to meet you as well. You're gonna be good. Be fine. All right, we'll start from the back. That's
Okay. I'm from Japan. I'm pursuit of MBA course. I don't decide my future, so I'm looking for what next step. That's why I came here. I want to find a new in my area. So,
okay. All right, there you go. All right. Hardik, you wanna go?
Okay, this is Hardik. I'm originally from New Delhi, India. I moved from Florida here to pursue my master's here. I'm coaching MBA in finance and looking forward to build my career in finance.
Okay. All right, man.
my name is Mariana. I'm originally from Brazil, and I'm here just to expand my knowledge and pursue something
Okay.
different. But
Okay.
I'm not sure what I'm doing.
We should do it. All right. Man. Join the club. I still don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. Okay. All right, cool. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Alright, my name
Jay?
is Sinji Taylor, but you can call me Sinji or TJ for short. I'm from Nigeria. I'm here to pursue my MBA in strategic leadership in management and global business. So before I came here, I used to work in an engineering company as operations manager, and I want to be in operations because I love operations. So after this program, I hope to get a job in operations. I got a support from Dr. K that I can go into quality and quality management and stuff like that. So I'm planning to do that. Of course, to also see if I can do something with data analytics. So
Okay, cool. There you go. And last but not least.
My name is Onyekachi. I'm from Nigeria.
Okay.
I'm an optometrist by profession,
Oh, wow, okay.
and currently I'm studying MBA healthcare management.
Mhm.
The degree, I want to use it to expand my business here, probably
Okay.
here in the US and back home
Okay.
in Nigeria.
Okay.
And I hope this course is going to help me.
Okay, we're gonna try. We're gonna try. Okay, cool. I appreciate it all. All right. If you guys hopefully read my bio, if you didn't, just real quick. You guys know my name, Dr. K. His first name is Patrick. I'm originally from New York. Was in the military for 21 years, and then I retired, and then I went to work for Toyota, Wells Fargo, and some other companies doing data analytics and management and stuff like that. I have a consulting business, so I help with executive coaching and team dynamics and stuff like that, and how we work and all that stuff. You said I'm not married, like I said, I don't have any kids. I travel a lot, and that's pretty much it. You know, I have a pretty vast or varied, I guess, understanding of a few things. All right, so my bachelor's in business, my master's in HR, master's in artificial intelligence, and a PhD in organizational leadership. All right, so if you want to ask me something, I'm okay. I can answer most questions for the most part, and a low level. All right, finance, whatever, economics, don't matter, psychology. Give it to me, okay? I got two official doctors here, so I can lean on them. If I really get into a bind, all right, and engineers and all kind of stuff, right? All right, so the reason, I'm sure most teachers do what we just did, right? For the most part, I don't know about the other classes, but I know throughout my academic career, I've always done intros, be it me being, doing the introducing, or me kind of proctoring the process, right? And, it's important, especially at a school this small, that you get to know each other and create, somewhat of a network, right? Sort of an alumni, so you can keep in contact with each other, right? So you guys can help each other out. 'Cause you never know who's gonna be that person to make, grow that big company, all right? You might need a job, might need some help, might need some advice, right? In general, okay? So do your best to really connect with folks, but you gotta get to know folks. You gotta step out your box, especially in this environment. We have such an international flavor for all our classes in our school in general that you should want to get to know about other people's culture, right? This is how you enhance yourself. This is where you kind of open your mind and see different things and realize like this corner of the world where you live at is not, that's all that exists, all right? There's a whole nother block, there's a whole nother country, there's a whole nother street over that you need to go check out, okay? It's different food, different music, different things, all right? The world's a fascinating place, and we are fortunate enough to have it kind of here, all right? So take advantage of that, all right? Talk to each other, you know, I didn't say text each other all day, but, you know, hey, once in a while, just reach out, you know, and say, hey, what's going on? Whatever, during the LEs, you know, it's very interesting, you know, I'd like to learn more about your country, whatever the case may be. Fortunately, I think I've been in every country except for India and Nigeria.
You have.
Yeah, that's the only place I haven't been. Every place else I've been to. Yeah, spent a lot of time in Jordan. Spent a lot of time in Tokyo, Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, spent some time in Africa, just not Nigeria. Yeah, so I'm gonna wait to see how the elections go today. Yeah, election, and Nigeria had elections yesterday. So now I'm waiting for the results, right? Yes, I am a consumer of global news, okay? That's the point. You gotta stay on top of stuff so you kind of know like what's going on, right? Because if you don't stay on top of what's going on, things that happen around you that affect you, that you are not gonna like. Okay, that's, you know, you may think what's going on in Nigeria has nothing to do with you, has a lot to do with you. A whole bunch. Jordan, right? Iranian Palestinian, Israeli Palestinian talk has a lot to do with America, right? Nigeria, Japan, India, Brazil. It's all connected. All right, don't forget that. It's all connected. All right, so just gotta stay up on it. Okay. But I do other things too. I take naps and stuff. Basketball.
It doesn't look like that.
What's that?
And finally, because you can take nap, you're relaxed, you're current, you know stuff, so now.
It doesn't, the one thing about this day and age, and most of you, except for, not Miss Christina, I'm sorry, Sadie. Most of you are what, in your 30s, maybe, right?
Yeah.
So, and, you know, I don't know how you are, but we're gonna just say 30, right? Give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of you are in your 30s, right? Who's older than 40 here?
Oh.
Yes. That's, no? Yes, okay, but, okay, let's say who's younger than 40, how about that?
Younger?
Yeah, younger than 40. Yep. All right, the ladies are like, I'm not telling anybody anything. You gotta guess. Either way, it was different back when I was growing up, all right? So just so you know, I'm 50, okay? And some of the other classmates are either, I'm 50. But some of the things that the way I grew up was go to the library if you want information, all right? We used to have people with that sold encyclopedias. They come knock on your door, Encyclopedia Britannica. They come knocking on your door. Oh, you want to buy this encyclopedia? There's 20 of them for $200, however much it was, right? But that's how I got information. It was a little harder. It's much easier nowadays, okay, to stay on top of, right? It's much easier to stay on top of what's going on, right? Because the information is readily available. The problem with it is that it's too much information.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's real. Okay, that's the part I have to verify. The veracity of it and the flow or the volume of it is what I have to kind of turn on and turn off. It wasn't like that back in the day. Back in the day, it's just you have to go seek it out. And if it wasn't in the newspaper, if it wasn't on the radio, or if it wasn't on TV and the limited commercials and the few channels that we had, you're not gonna notice it, right? But now we know what's going on worldwide, right? We know what's going on in small cities, in small countries, small villages all over the world. So it's different, okay? It's different. So it's easier to keep up, right? So I just behoove you to keep up on some things. I know it's depressing. The news is very depressing, all right? So I don't recommend you check it out every day, but, check it out once a week, all right? Read an article about something that is just, It has nothing to do with school, nothing to do with you. Just read the article. All right, about whatever. I'm sure some of your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, is that Snapchat still a thing? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have social media. Can't deal with it. Too much for me. Okay? All right. All right. Any questions, comments? Anything at all? Okay. All right. So let's look over the syllabus real quick. All right. So if you had a chance, you know the assignments, right? That we have every week, there's a LE, a learning engagement, and a quiz. All right. So make sure you take care of those. Yes, the LEs due Wednesdays at 11:59 p.m. Doesn't matter what day you have a class, all right? And everything else is due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. All right? So your initial post, excuse me, on Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. And then the two responses to your colleagues or your classmates are due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. All right? Make sure that you follow as far as instructions goes, the word requirement and all that kind of things for your LE, right? Do your best to answer the LE to its fullest. And the things that I grade for when it comes to LE, especially at this level, is mostly citations like APA stuff and grammar and spelling. All right, that's the things I check for because in most instances, the content is good. It's not the content. You guys had the content down. It's putting it together and kind of conveying the thought that you're trying to convey that sometimes I don't understand. Like, okay, I don't know what this sentence means. I know you understand it, but I don't get what you're trying to say. All right, so you have to really be sure you format your stuff correctly. Secondly, do not, in any instance, copy and paste your other classmates' answers and post them as your own. Okay, may sound strange, may sound funny, but I had a class last session. Students were copying and pasting literally the classmates up right above what they said. They copy and paste and put it their own and then think I would notice. I read everything. I'm telling you now, I read everything. Okay. So just be cognizant of that. All right. You don't want to get caught plagiarizing. All right. The first time I'm going to just give you a quick warning. The second time I'm going to take points off. Third time, no credit. And the fourth time, I'll let the school know to, be expelled. Okay. Plagiarism, there's no place for that here, especially at this level. Okay. Give people credit for what they worked on, just like you're here working hard. They worked hard on what they did. All right. And so don't steal their stuff. Okay. And not pay them. You can't do that, right? You can't use other people's work and pass it off as your own. Now you can cite and you can paraphrase, okay? And so we will go through a couple of things here shortly that will help you out with your writing, all right? So we have our LAs, relative response quiz, all right? So week 3, we have a title justification, okay? And so for the title justification, all we're looking for is maybe a paragraph at most, okay? At most about the title of your paper or your research topic and why you chose the topic. That's it. Okay. Don't break your neck about it. Don't spend hours, trying to formulate this masterpiece, right? It's one paragraph, literally, 4 to 6 sentences of tell me what the title is and why you chose it. Okay. Why you chose that topic. Right? That's all I want to see in title justification, right? It's only worth, 20 points? 20 points. All right? It's not going to make a difference as far as grades go. All right? So pay attention to that. So on that, when we talk about the research paper, right, at the end of the session, right, it's the week 8. It's a topic that's relevant to organizational development and change management, okay? It could be any topic as long as it's related to the class. All right. So even if I may not necessarily see the correlation right away. If you make the connection in your paper, it's okay. All right, because there's a lot of things that people don't necessarily associate with change management or organizational development or OD. So you may have to make that connection. But as long as you make that connection, that's okay. All right. So I'm telling you, any topics open, just make sure you make that connection between what we're studying in class and why that's relevant in that particular field, all right, on that topic. Okay. So we talk about that some more though as we go on. All right. So a final draft, okay. Actually, group case study. Group case study is just that. Usually, I would let you pick your groups out. This time I decided not to because it's too much of a headache for me to wait for you guys to pick out your groups. All right. So I've made the groups for you. Random, arbitrary. The only thing that was my criteria was that I left all the online students together, and then I left all the physical hybrid students together. All right. Because I don't think it's fair for you as a hybrid student try to find an online student and vice versa. Right. So we have all the online students, right? So most groups have 5 people, I think, and one group has 4. So it's 2 groups of 5, 1 group of 4, and 1 group of 3. Okay, so you should be able to go down and see your group in the case study, I think in week 3 or week 4 maybe, but your names are there. Okay, so go reach out. I just behoove you. I suggest that you reach out. Have you already looked at it? Right? Looked at it already? You guys, cool, yeah. So take a look at it. Yeah, talk to each other. Yeah. So talk to each other, check it out, okay? Make sure you understand that this is a group assignment, okay? There's no excuse for, hey, I don't know who's in my group. I didn't talk to my group member, can I do it alone? No. I'm telling you right now, the answer is no. Okay? It's a group assignment, make it work. All right? It's collaboration, teamwork. Figure it out. Okay. Huh? No. No, Harden. Yeah. Didn't work out too well last time. Okay. Yeah, I'm rational. Okay, when something's not working, I have to fix it. Especially something that affects me. Okay, so I fixed it. All right, I just did it myself. Okay, so that's one less thing you guys have to worry about. All right, so check it out. You have 3 options to choose from when it comes to the case study. So look at all 3, decide which one you want. Okay, all the groups can do one, or it doesn't matter. I don't care which one you pick. You just have 3 options. Okay, so take a look at them. One might be more interesting than the other. Check it out. Okay. All right. So group case study, that's through week 5, and then we have our final draft paper. Okay. So with the final draft, with the final draft, I'm not looking for complete work. Okay. I'm looking for what you've done so far. Okay. It just gives me an idea that you're on the right track and that you're sticking to what you said you're going to write about. If you change your mind, that's okay, but I need to see some semblance of, hey, I've done some research, I put a couple pages together, this is kind of where it's going, and I can see how your writing is going. I don't need you to finish the paper and hurry up and submit it. Whatever you have, you submit, okay? But that's just for the draft, okay, week 6 draft, right? I expect that you will continue to work on it and get it ready for when you have to really submit it in week 8 as your final paper. Okay, so don't, again, just like the time justification, don't break your neck. You should be working towards, your paper right now. All right, the best way to do it, well, then I say the best way to do it. The way that works for me is that I start on a little bit every week, starting from the first week. That way, come week 8, I probably have maybe 1 or 2 pages left to do, proofreading, and I'm done with the paper and I turn it in, okay? The other thing about the paper, a content over, or quality over quantity guy, okay? And what I mean is that don't give me 20 pages of BS, okay? Give me 10 pages of good work, good writing, solid writing, make your point, set your hypothesis, lay out your research questions, show me how you did it, okay? Talk about the past research or past, background of the particular topic, right? Talk about your findings, wrap it up in the conclusion, make sure your reference list is good, okay? That's all I care about, right? It's a good argument, a good standing, a good, paper that helps me, get some insight as to what it is you're talking about, right? Don't give me 20 pages of the same thing you've been repeating over and over again, just for the sake of filling up pages. I don't want that. So don't worry about the page limits. If you hand in a quality product, the page requirements go away. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's like any sports team. Okay, when you're winning, it doesn't matter. Everything's fine. When you're losing, everybody notices everything. Okay, so let's start with a winning attitude here. Let's win. All right, send me some quality work and we'll be all right. Okay, so don't worry about the page count. The word count, when it comes to the LEs, yeah, stick to that as much as you can. Don't give me any fluff in that either. And what I mean is by, don't give me the, hey, you know, Benji, it was a really nice, I really liked your post. You've been doing great posts for the past 7, 8 weeks. I think you're a really nice guy. I like that sweater you had on the other day. Okay, well, good work. I'll talk to you later. That's gonna get you a 0. Okay? I don't care about the sweater. It's nice. I don't care about it though. Okay? I don't care about what Pinky said of, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Add something to it. Okay? Ask a question, debate him, poke him, like, give him something to think about. All right, that's what we're looking for. Thought-provoking insight, responses that, hey, you know what, yeah, I like your point, but I also thought about this or in this particular way, and I didn't agree with you here, but I agree with you here. I think that this can be done. That's cool, okay? Because again, it's only 100 words. I'm not expecting, huh?
100?
Yeah, I think, yes, I think.
It's 200.
Is it 200? Okay, maybe it's 200. I'm thinking about undergrad. Yeah, you're right, it's 200. Undergrad is 100. All right, so just make it quality, all right? Whatever you're writing for me, okay? Just make it a quality piece of work and we'll be okay. Okay. So final paper, same thing, no big deal. Final paper presentation, so this is where you got to create a PowerPoint, okay? You create your PowerPoint, but you also have to create a video to present your PowerPoint, okay? Present your paper, right? So there's 3 things gonna be due week 8. Your paper, the presentation, and your video presentation, okay? So make sure you have all those 3 things done, submitted. Again, the paper says 10 to 12 pages, that's fine. The video presentation, 5 to 10 minutes, that's fine, okay? The PowerPoint, 5 or 6 slides at the most. You basically look at your paper and cut it, reduce it or redact it and make it into 5 or 6 slides, kind of like outline your paper. Okay, you don't have to make it a big 10, 12, 15 slide PowerPoint. It doesn't do that. Okay, 5 to 6 slides, get to the point. Okay, get to the point. Intro, lit review, methodology, discussion, what are findings, conclusion, wrap it up. Have a nice day. Okay, easy. All right. Okay, if you need help trying to figure out a topic, let me know. We'll sit down, we'll brainstorm, see what you're interested in, and we'll figure something out, all right? But org development, change management applies to every organization. It's just that many of us haven't done it in a corporate or business setting. We've done it in our personal lives. Maybe they're not paying attention to it, but in a corporate setting, it's not just something that, it's more something you probably have participated in, but not actually been a executor as far as the plan or the process and stuff, right? So you don't really understand the intricacies of what's going on, right? But you've been part of the change, okay? All right, what else? And then the final exam, okay? All the exams here, the quizzes, exams, all that stuff, they're all open book, open PowerPoint, okay? The only thing I ask is that you work on them alone. That's it. All right. Aside from that, you have all the resources available to you to get it right. Okay, get the final exam right, get the quizzes right. All right. So it's not cheating, it's being smart and using resources because nobody can remember everything. Okay. If you can, let me know. I got 2 things I need to remember. Okay. But for the most part, we're here to really replicate what really goes on in the real world. All right, because we have a lot of smart people here. Okay, like I said, we have 2 actual MDs or you guys go MD or you guys OD?
Yeah.
DDS, okay, yeah. And then what is it for you for optometry? OD, okay. Either way, they still got doctors in their titles. Okay. Well, MD is medical doctor. OD is and DDS. All right. So Dennis, who's a doctor?
A silent doctor.
A what?
A silent doctor.
What's a silent doctor? He's a what?
A medical doctor.
Are you?
I am.
Why didn't you say that?
I don't have.
Oh, Lord have mercy. See, we're starting on a bad foot already, okay? I'm talking about sharing. You gotta tell me these things. That's a big deal, okay? This is part of the class, all right? Understand that. What you guys do, what you guys have been through, your experiences, is part of the class. It's part of the learning experience. That right there, okay, not disrespectful or anything, it's being selfish. Because you're not sharing,
All right.
okay?
So now I'm sharing.
Right, you gotta share, you gotta share your experience. I understand, I don't wanna know all the details, I don't know what kind of doctor you are,
That's
but
right.
yeah, but everybody know, hey, he's a doctor, okay? You work hard for it, all right? How many years of medical school did you go to?
7 years.
That's a long time to go to school, okay?
It was.
So it's okay to celebrate it, but you wanna, people, I wanna know, well, I wanna know, okay? I don't know about the rest of the class, but I like to know what's going on, okay? If I have 3 doctors now, okay? I wanna know, right? Now I know something's wrong with my eyes, I know where to go, my teeth, go. I just dropped here on the ground, I expect you to save me, okay?
I got.
All right, so looking for that.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully, no, I'm not. I'm in decent shape. Hopefully, unless something I don't know goes on and let's go. Okay, so final exam. So this is the whole syllabus, the grading structure. Take a look at it when you get a chance, okay? And just, be aware of what's coming up and what's due. All right, that's pretty much the extent of that. Did I turn the video on? I think, damn, did not turn the video on. All right, any questions, comments, anything you wanna say? Okay. As far as class time, so the way I work it is we try to start on time at 5:30. I will, usually give you a break about 6:30 or so, 6:40, depends. Sometimes I'll be yap, 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 yap. And then, the students are like, hey, I need a break, so don't be afraid to tell me, Dr. Cage, I need a break, or it's 6:30 or whatever, and I'll give you a break, okay? 10-minute break, 15-minute break, depending on what's going on. Typically, we're done with class about 7:30, give or take, sometimes earlier, depending on the material. I'm not, again, one of these professors that have to fill up the whole 2.5 hours, okay? If I'm done talking what I'm done talking about, I'm going home. Okay? It's just the truth, I'm going home.
That's great.
You guys can stay here, but I'm going home. Okay, so I'm just telling you, all right? But if it requires us to stay here till 8, we'll stay here till 8. Okay, we're talking and I'll stay there 8:30, 9 o'clock before, all right? Just depends on what you guys need from me. And if we get into a good conversation, then it is what it is. Okay? All right. What else? I think that's it. All right, what time is it now?
Yeah.
6:30 now?
No.
Oh, see? Well, I gotta watch out for it, man.
6:17.
It's 17, okay, what's up?
It's a ridiculous question. I want to know, do you have soft copy of this material? I mean, the textbook.
You have a what?
Clear.
Oh, the textbook. You guys don't have the textbook?
Well, I have the third review.
We
Check.
have- There's a third edition available, like a soft copy, not a fourth, but
The
fourth.
fourth edition? I say actually probably, aside from that, no.
It's very new, that's why.
Yeah, I don't have one. I don't know what the policy of the school is, but I know when I'm going to school, you have to buy your own books. So I don't know if that's changed any. From what I can tell, it hasn't changed. You gotta buy your own book, so I recommend if you don't have the book and you want it, you can rent it. From Amazon, you can buy it used. There's a couple of different ways. You could probably use the third edition because they normally don't change too much. Just make sure that as you're using the third edition, you may need to maybe look at what the assignment is asking for. And the page may have changed or some little nuance may have changed. The case study may have changed as far as what's in the book, if they actually read the case study. A lot of times those things change to keep relevant what's going on. So I would say if you have third edition, use it, but just be cognizant of when if it's asking you to do something in the book, it's probably not going to be the same. Okay, as far as the exercises, that kind of thing. The material, 99% of it is going to be the same. Right? These guys don't go back and rewrite too much. Okay, they just don't, it doesn't make any sense. If something new or upcoming, they'll change it, but for the most part, they keep it pretty steady, all right? Okay, so yeah, that's my best advice, for you. But, you know, if you stick with the PowerPoints, you won't really need the book too much. You know, these PowerPoints are a little vague. They don't have as much information as, other PowerPoints that I've used. They're very vague, it's more, you know, of true speaking or talking point type PowerPoints or slides. So it may not be as helpful, but if you see what's on the slide and you go to the book and find that particular area, you should be able to kind of match them up and be okay, right? Especially for the quizzes, and most of the quiz answers are coming straight from the PowerPoint. Okay, so the quiz question, as I said, they come from straight from PowerPoint. Right? But again, you have open formats. You can go research in other organizational change books or the internet or whatever suits your fancy. Okay? Okay, cool. Any other questions? No? All right, let's get this thing rolling then. All right, so all right. So when we talk about, you know, organizational change and development, right, or change management, what we're really looking to do is to try to enhance the company, right? Trying to change the organization for the better. We're trying to minimize, mitigate, correct deficiencies, right? Build efficiencies, right? And really streamline processes, but trying to get individual skills better, okay? Because that is really what is contributing to the success of a company. Every individual that works for the company has a certain thing that they contribute to the bottom line, right? Whether it be computer skills, whether it be managerial skills, whether it be speaking skills, okay? Whatever it is, engineering skills, production, whatever the case may be, that's a skill set that the company is relying upon, tied into one of the objectives, right? And the first thing I would tell you always, when you go into a company, find out what they do. What's the mission? What is it that we do as a company? Right? A lot of people don't know that. They work for companies, they really don't know what the company does. Like, oh yeah, I work for, I don't know, for Northrop Grumman. What does Northrop Grumman do? Well, Northrop Grumman builds computers, you know? What does Northrop Grumman do? What's their mission? Right? What is the aim of Northrop Grumman? Right? Yes, they don't really build computers, but they build, you know, basically war machines for the most part, right? Northrop Grumman builds planes, they build jets, they build engines, they build, you know, tanks, they build satellites, there's a lot of stuff that goes into Northrop Grumman, or even Qualcomm, right? You guys know what Qualcomm does? What's Qualcomm do?
They make chips like,
Yeah,
phone chips.
okay, yeah.
I know Qualcomm Stadium.
Yeah, you know Qualcomm Stadium, right? Yeah, not anymore, it's gone. It's gone, right? It's not Qualcomm Stadium anymore, Snapdragon now, right?
Snapdragon now. yeah,
Snapdragon,
that's correct.
exactly, right? But what's the mission of Qualcomm? What's Qualcomm's mission?
To
No?
be the leader in the chips market.
There you go, oh, that's on power, right? They want to be the leader in the chip market.
If
Right, that's the mission, right? Leader in the chip market industry, right? Innovative new technology, okay? Forefront of, you know, internet, 10G, right? Because you know there's 10G, right? Anybody ever heard of 10G?
Which is
10G? Sachi, you heard of 10G? Yeah, right? So what you know,
The
right?
internet. The internet?
Yeah, commercially right now we have 5G, right? But they already have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10G. Right? We don't get to use it as normal humans, all right? Because we're not doing anything special, except for maybe, you guys probably play video games, maybe. Yeah, that's about it. All right, we're not building any rockets. All right, we don't need that kind of speed for what we're doing. We don't need that kind of connectivity for what we're doing, right? But Qualcomm's mission is to stay innovative, is to stay on top of things, right? When you think about innovation, what is one of the tenets of innovation? Like what are one of the characteristics or elements of innovation?
Research.
Research, okay.
To make it light and smallest as small and be more powerful, like reduce the size and make it more powerful.
No, that's more, yeah, that's more specific to Qualcomm,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. But I'm saying in innovation in general.
Creativity.
Be the first one.
Be the first one, okay?
Cost
Get
cutting and
anything?
make the product more effective.
Yeah, you guys are saying all the right things, but think about innovation. What happens when you innovate?
It gives you, competitive advantage.
Yeah, it does that too.
Well, I think-
Difference,
I
grow.
think you get something that already exists and just make more efficient.
Okay, so grow, make more efficient, right?
Yeah.
Advance, okay? What do these things have in common though, as it relates to the class? As it relates to the topic? Change, right? Innovation means change. Because we have something here, right? But it's just not exactly what we need, or it can be better, right? So we have to change it, right? Be it in for physical state, right? Or we can change it in different, emotional state. We can change it in different ways, but it's going through a change, right? We all go through changes, but when we talk about innovation, especially in the tech industry, we're talking about change, right? Now, when you talk about technology and the change that's going in technology, what are some of the characteristics of change in the technology industry? Like when we talk about tech, and I say, oh, some changes going on. What are some things that may come to mind as far as, maybe, I got a new computer, right? Say we both have Apples, right? I have an Apple Mac Air. I've had this since 2014. Okay, and you get a new Apple, it's 2023. Okay, so what's really like the big deal about change, specifically in tech?
Technology.
Better performance, technology, faster process, speed. What kind of speed?
The work, the power of working, like,
The power of working.
like
Okay, but what about the technology itself?
the back end process, like coding and all those. Something.
Yeah, okay. You guys are on the right track, right? So specifically in tech, right? Change is happening by the minute. Okay? The pace of change is what we're looking at, right? And how easily it's incorporated or integrated into our day-to-day lives. Okay, because that change is unusual or different from other change. Right? Because if I go, like I said, I have this in 2014, somebody has a 2023 one, mine is a dinosaur compared to what somebody has for 2023, right? A lot of changes happen. But the minute that you buy something, it's like buying a car. The minute you buy a car, guess what? It depreciates. As soon as you drive the thing off the lot, it's already down $10,000 or whatever amount of money, right? So it's changing at a certain pace. Can you keep up with that change? Right? And when it comes to technology, yes, no. Are we keeping up with the change, the pace? It depends, right? Depends what it is, right? In the technology industry, they keep up with the change of pace because they're always changing something, right? Integrating it before it even gets out, it's old, right? Something that comes out today is gonna be old in a week, right? Chat GPT, everybody feel Chat GPT, right? It's already old. Okay, they got something else out that they built already that is going to come in and be new, okay? So the tech industry is one thing, but change in an organization or change in yourself is a long, slow, painful process. Okay, it's not easy. Imagine trying to build a habit. Imagine saying, you know what, I wanna, it's the winter, I got all my big clothes on, but summertime's coming, I'm gonna get right, I'm gonna get my beach body together. All right. It's February now, going on March in a couple of days. All right. How long do you think it's gonna take you to change from one position of no abs, no muscles to some muscles, some abs, and you ready, you beach ready? 1 month at least, okay? Maybe. All right, yeah. All right. Anybody else? Month and that, man, you got a stud.
2 days without dinner.
2 days without dinner? Man, that means you got some already. That's what it is. You start with a pack. No, it's gonna take me like 5, 6 months. I gotta start in December if I want to get right for the summer. Okay? It takes time. Takes time for change, right? 6 to 8 months, right? It takes time, right? Yes, timing is important also, right?
Because when I was enter the market,
Mhm.
I was the first one, okay?
Okay, yeah, first
But
time.
because I then I go for upgrade my work,
Yeah,
so I'm doing it.
okay. See, so what you're talking about is what happened to Sears, right? And so we'll kind of get into that a little bit. Okay. All right, so the thing with change is that sometimes there's different reasons to change. Sometimes you have to change because you broke the rules, some government thing came down, whatever it is, right? Other times you have to change because what you're doing is no longer relevant. Okay? And if you don't change, you're going to be shut down. Okay? Change is an inherent part of business. You want to be successful? Look at all the good companies that have been around for a long time. They change. Nokia, all right? Nokia changed a lot, but Nokia almost went bankrupt. Okay? Was that?
He was the first.
Exactly, right? He was the first in the market with cell phones and all that stuff came around right back in the day, right? Sears, everybody familiar with Sears? All right? No? What's some of you? No, Sears.
Same as Sony also.
Mm-mm. Oh, Sony, yeah. So, Sony's still around. They doing it, but they go through a change, all right?
They went through a lot of disaster.
Yeah.
BlackBerry guy.
Yeah, that's what you just said, like, Sony, all right? Sears, Blockbuster.
Alcatel?
Who?
This brand Alcatel.
That's not here.
Not here?
Yeah, no, that's not here.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not something here, no.
Yeah.
Motorola,
Yeah.
yeah, they're still around, but has to change.
Almost over.
Kodak, anybody remember Kodak?
Batteries.
No, Kodak.
Ah, no.
Kodak is.
Photo.
Kodak
Batteries
is still
and
for the
camera.
Asian market. Asian market is still dependent on Kodak.
Yeah, yeah, Kodak is still around in some facet, right? But what's the present day company that resembles Kodak or
Musical.
who?
Musical.
Nikon.
No,
Or no, Nikon.
Panasonic.
no, Panasonic. No, Panasonic doesn't do anything. No, Adobe.
Adobe.
Adobe does what Kodak used to do, but in a newer way, right? Adobe is digital content. It's the reproduction of data or papers or different format, right? They do graphics, they do that kind of thing. Because that's what Kodak can do, right? Kodak was in the picture business, right? But Kodak also, right, was into building engines. Okay, Kodak also, guess what? When we had COVID, guess what they were making the vaccine at? Kodak. Okay, because Kodak had the facilities because of what they did. They did film processing. They had all the chemicals. They had the scientists, right? So they helped to manufacture the vaccine. Okay, so all these companies that you see that are around now, they're around because they changed. Okay, they looked at the landscape. How can we survive? Can we still survive in our current business? Okay, because Kodak, who's ever bought film here? Film, not you, Christina. I don't know you like film. Who's film? Like film you put in the camera, right? You bought film before? Anybody else? All right, all right. And you guys have real cameras though, right? Okay, so I mean, who has a camera on them? Yeah, who has a camera on them? Exactly, right? That's my camera. Okay, I don't need film for that. Okay, so Kodak had to figure out, like, oh my goodness, we are behind. We've fallen behind because of our successes. Right? Things have changed. When I was growing up, Kodak was synonymous for go get the camera. Where's the Kodak? Hey, I like a Coke. I didn't even want a Coke. I just wanted soda. Right? But Coke is different. They, changed and done that thing. They're good. All right. But Kodak's a little different. Sears is a little different. Blockbuster is a little different. right? Redbox. Anybody heard of Redbox? Never heard of Redbox? You've heard of Netflix though, huh? Yeah? That's Redbox. It used to be Redbox. And if you know Redbox, Redbox is those little red boxes that are on the corner that have the DVDs. You put the money in and it gives you the DVD and you bring the DVD back in a couple of days. That's where Netflix came from. Okay, that's who owns Netflix. Those guys that came with Redbox. And so it's an understanding of the environment, of the landscape to say, okay, where do we need to make change to keep up with the market? Right? What is going on in society that's going to enable us to continue to have a market share, to meet customer demand, right? And to make money. Okay. So we look at some of these, not there yet, but we look at some of these other companies, okay, and figure out what are they going to do to change, right? If you look at the mall, for instance, right? Everybody familiar with Horton Plaza, downtown,
Yeah.
San Diego, right? Okay. I haven't been there in probably like a few months, right? But Horton Plaza, for those that live here long enough, they used to be a mall, an outdoor mall, just like it is in Mission Valley and Fashion Valley. It used to be a pretty big mall, right? But they closed down. They shut that place down. I don't know what they're gonna do with it now. We can't remember what they're gonna do with the space. Okay. The whole point is that they are changing the way it's structured, the way you shop, right? Has changed or affected the kind of the purchasing or buying habits of consumers. Thus, people don't go to the mall anymore. Okay, and so it's had an economic impact on Horton Plaza because now it's no longer useful, right? The cost of operating Horton Plaza compared to the cost of money you're bringing in, to the revenue generating, it's in the red all the time, right? So decided we're going to change it up. We're going to use it for something different, a different purpose. Okay, that's all because things have changed. All right, people are online. They don't go to the store anymore. All right. Fashion Valley, kind of the same thing. There's a lot of stores in Fashion Valley that are high end and stuff like that. So people still go to Fashion Valley. And, but as you can see, it's starting to get smaller and smaller, less stores, right? Less people trafficking, as far as going through the mall, walking around. When people go to the mall, sometimes they just go to walk now. They don't go to shop, they go to walk. Right? Some people do still shop, right? Those people that like to physically touch stuff. I'm gonna physical touch people. I like hard books. I don't like Kindles and stuff like that. Books, I like to feel things, like to try my shoes and that kind of thing, right? So there's still some place for me to go, but eventually it's gonna get to the point where I'm gonna do my shopping online with everybody else. Okay. And so that's another change that we noticed, that we see that it is feasible and it's lucrative and it makes sense for the technology, the resource that we have, right? And it provides convenience for the shopper, right? For the consumer. And at the end of the day, that's all we care about. What's going to make the consumer happy, right? What's going to meet the demand, because I want your business. I want your money, okay? When it boils down to change, all right, it's a couple of things. Change is hard, firstly, okay? It's not easy. Secondly, change is very relevant to the particular industry it's in, right? Different companies or different industries do it differently. They don't have to do it the same way. There's different approaches, there's different techniques. There's just different things that they try, right? And not every change is necessary for every company. It's not going to work across the board, okay? And also change is inevitable, right? It's going to happen. Whether you want it to or not, change is going to come. It's either going to go with you or it's not going to go. You're not going to roll with it, right? But many people that live off the grid who don't, know how to use iPhones, my parents, okay, they don't know how to use iPhones. I literally spent 30 minutes with my dad on the phone FaceTiming, showing him how to send an email. This is a true story on Saturday. 30 minutes, I had to FaceTime him and he just could not do it, and I couldn't help him because I wasn't there physically. He's in Florida. Okay? So things change. Change is hard. Okay, this is why you don't have many older folks in corporate America, right? Get to a certain age, people don't want to learn new things, right? If I'm doing something that's working just fine, why would I want to try something new? Okay, I don't want to, right? So change is difficult, but it's inevitable. It's gonna come regardless of point, all right? Whether I want it to come or not, whether I like the change, it's gonna happen. Okay? All right, so what time is it now?
6:40.
6:40. Okay, let's take 10 minutes and then come back. Okay? Good? All right.
I'm happy, no, 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 there you
Oh, no. No, he has to do the free code and all that. I think they were also giving me this. I asked him, but he won't. It's better to come on.
Did you fill out the form that I sent you?
Yeah.
Nothing, for now, I'm looking. But if anything changes, I was out on original, and you're gonna be the first person I'm gonna say, I want you to share it. No problem. But. That's cool.
If we stop it, that's going to happen. That's correct. Okay.
Oh, how are you? Yeah. Doesn't matter. You still go to- Yeah. Right? Somewhere, but yeah. You have to like convince them to give you. All the time, so they are working today, so you can say like. Do you want to- They're gonna-
Really learning about the
He learned on Oregon too. And I learned on the regular. Larger one, yeah. Yeah.
Strings and all the.
Yeah.
Pedal?
Yeah. That's pretty good. And you have to do it on Oregon.
Oregon? I mean, the fire program? Wow, I love working.
I didn't growing up, though. Now I'm older, then down.
Oregon. When I was maybe, I played on tournament, but one thing that I still understand, the way I think Nigeria is different. If I see here, I could use the pedal,
Yeah.
the full pedal, but I still could use the right. I didn't let that. So I thought, I need to learn this program more people.
Yeah.
And I'll do the feeling, combination, like that. So now I have set up piano on the. That is great. I was on the boardwalk park.
Mhm.
Some of the piano, I saw it there.
A big one, on that big white lake.
Yeah.
You get your fall down.
So, yeah, so I'm thinking of, Sunday.
Yeah.
So that on Sunday that I ended up watching some of the.
Yeah. No, but I've heard of it. My son has been
yeah, so yeah, we can see, different pieces.
In my husband, my father-in-law comes from Seattle, he always says I'll go up on that. He plays, organ every Sunday, and he's restored, and he's really fine with it. Wow. Can't bring himself to sell it. Once he restores them, then he'll go, "Oh, you can't sell it." You can't sell it, so now he's like, doing it with all this work in it, and I have to go cut that down. I know, like, and art and just that, but, there's a lot of them that keep exploring.
If you start that other, you know, other kids, you know. If you say that anything, all this stuff, you should be, you two years, you say, flight on the mountain.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, I love it, but, you know, the volcano, I just, I started, one go back to the another about snow. Maybe actually like what you said. That's what I do. I really want to know. It's good, but I'm usually like yeah. You don't really actually, you have to chill.
Yeah, a lot, yeah, so, I think like.
So what you do, are you? What you have, what you do, are you on small?
We don't have anything right now, so it's not going to go to home.
So
We
you
had a
just,
lot, yeah,
oh,
we had a lot, so we were getting, and then now I was going to order it. So it's smaller.
it's small piano?
We start with her and then it's playing and we just have so much space. You know, so we're kind of like, we want to make sure that she's on there. I don't know if it has this, I know probably, but he, well,
So you play basketball? Basketball?
yeah, I haven't played so long ago, about, it's been that long since I played. But, yeah, and I need to, I know my goal is to win my own person. Because I just want to get to you.
I did.
Now that I'm doing it, I don't know, this is nice.
Okay.
Yeah, we both going after, I was told, because he wants to go. So I had to choose something. I think it was in my notes.
I also play clarinet.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah. I have my tutor. I talked to the church when I did a matter. I talked to the junior.
Okay.
And I'm still learning. I
Yeah.
want to get this. For the most part, I give it to you.
Good. I would love to,
I play clarinet. So now, you know, as you get a feeling, you know, you want to know basic, very more, right? It's sound different, so you can find anyone that will be able to.
right?
Something like that.
Do they have, yeah.
We because it's, it needs, you know, the biggest part, clarinet is the public temperature, you shake it on, and you can do it about this. I love learning. So I started with learning and I was learning. I don't know. With knowledge, so I can beautifully turn it into something new. So I can come there with that. But I can't do the process. And then it's so I put my left with I think that Nigeria will medical center. So I like the garden. When I got married, I was I just wanted to garden because of all.
All right, any time yet? Anybody at? Get this thing rolling. You outside, come on in. About to start back up. Before I continue, I briefly mentioned it, but I did bring my APA manual in, okay? This is the seventh edition, okay? The cost about $20, I think, new. But you can get a used one for about $6, okay? So I like the used one better People have written in them and they've made all their notes and marks and kind of, crease the more common areas that you go to. So it's a great book, especially if you plan on getting your doctorate or something like that, okay? But this will help you with a lot of the basic stuff as far as citing and things I'm looking for, format, how to, put a paper together, that kind of thing, okay? So you can go get it, go to Amazon. You can get these ones for $6, I think, maybe 7. Okay, so 7th edition APA manual. Get one. I use one all the time. I have 6th and 7th edition. And whenever I'm writing academically, I always have it just to make sure that I'm doing everything right. Because when you publish or you plan on publishing, they won't take your stuff unless it's APA. Okay, if you want to be in a journal, you have, whatever medical journal. Was that?
IRB.
IRB, yeah, IRB, all right, shows you all that stuff, okay, so if you can get it, all right, it'll help you out a lot. Okay, all right, okay, so one of the things about change is that, you may, because there's so many things that go into change, you may implement a change management policy or change management process, but doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have an effective or a positive outcome. Okay, not all change actually takes a hold. Right, sometimes you have a change and you do a lot of things to implement the change, but it doesn't stick, right? Because maybe of the nature of the people that you're trying to deal with, right? Maybe the age or they're older, they don't want to learn anything new. Maybe you don't have enough money for the technology that you need to change. Maybe the environment and landscape is not ready for the change. Okay, so there's a lot of factors that go into change. And so because of that, not all change is successful change. Right, and we see that in many instances as far as even on a grand macro scale of governments. Okay, we have governments that change leaders every couple of years, right? With the United States thing every 4 years. Okay, the changes that the things you see happening now, as far as that are affecting us directly, are things that were done by President Obama or President Bush. Okay, and then just now kind of feeling the effect, right? The things that President Trump did, we probably won't feel for another 2 or 3 years. And the things that President Biden is doing now, we're probably not going to see or impact us for another 7, 8 years. Okay, so change takes time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that change is always going to be successful, because as new people come in, they have different insights, they have different perspective on things, like, oh, we don't need that anymore, or I don't like this, or I don't like the way it's done. So guess what? We're going to change the change. Okay, or we're gonna go back to the way we were. All right, and so change doesn't always work. Right. So one of the companies that highlighted when it comes down to change is Starbucks. And each of these companies, we have Starbucks, I think it is Detroit, and we have what's the other company? I can't remember. No, it wasn't Kmart, it was Sears. Okay. And each one of these companies went through change, right? If you know anything about Starbucks, Starbucks started as a super small coffee shop in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, and they've been around since the 1960s, I think, 1967, 1968, or something like that, right? So they've been around for a little bit, right? And so they've grown into this global brand, right, for the most part. But through that, they've gone through a lot of changes and different things, different approaches that they've used that are inherent to their effective change, right? But for them, the change looked different than it did for other folks, right? Some of the issues or things that they looked at were, looking at, particular plans or approaches that worked for them, right? Because you have to understand the business, right? Starbucks is in the coffee business, okay? And what's probably the most critical element that you need for coffee? Water, right? For sure. What else? Coffee, right? You need coffee beans, right? Okay, coffee beans, all right? Mary probably laughing because I think majority of coffee beans come from Africa and from Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Africa and Brazil have the best coffee. Colombia too, right? And then other places have better tea, right? But all in all, you have to make your plan and tailor it to what works for your company. Okay, the specific elements that you have to deal with, right? So at Starbucks, as they were trying to make that change, the problem they start running into the water issue. Okay, takes a lot of water to grow coffee, right? And then after it's done, it still needs more water, okay? Right? Importing the beans, okay? Understanding, okay, how am I gonna get the beans from where they're grown to the United States? Okay?
Keep them fresh.
Keep them fresh, right? How do I do that? All right, and does anybody know what the Starbucks solution was for that? Was that harder? Do you know? Anybody know what Starbucks did and to kind of combat the whole distribution, or not distributing, get the manufacturing piece of it? How did they get the bean from whatever country to here?
They open their manufacturing there.
Yes, okay, that's how they did it. They opened up plants, processing plant right there in those local areas, okay? Because they couldn't do it here in the States, right? Because we have crappy coffee, right? And why do we have crappy coffee? Soil, okay? We don't have the right environment for it, okay? So this is why it's important to understand the global context of everything, right? Every region has something that you can only build or make in that particular region, right? And Starbucks had that problem. Where do we get the best coffee? Now, don't get me wrong, Starbucks coffee is trash, okay?
I do agree.
Right, but it's not because they don't have access to good beans. It's just that from a,
It's just too much.
right, from a processing standpoint, and it's just too much, right? It doesn't cost, it doesn't make money, and it doesn't make sense for me to buy a bean at this level when my consumer is not gonna pay that price point, right? Especially if you can go someplace else and get better coffee cheaper, right? If you go to the Caribbean, if you go to Puerto Rico, if you go to Africa, if you go to Australia, you go to Brazil, you get great coffee dirt cheap. Okay, so they had a problem with trying to understand, okay, how do we get the material, the goods, the raw material from where it's made, all right? Contribute to the community, but then get it back here so that it's fresh enough that I can package it and it can sit on a shelf for 2-3 months. And then when you get it to consumer, it's still good, right? So how do I go through that? How do I build, how do I scale that up? And that took years, that took decades for them to figure out how to do that change, right? How to go from a one store place to one on every corner, right? Walmart, the same thing, all right? Walmart started a small little store about this big, right in the middle of the Midwest somewhere. I can't remember exactly, but they have pictures of it, all right? And then now they're the leader, right? The low cost leader, right? Because of the strategy they use. That's all through change. That's all through trial and tribulation. That's all through, okay, I have this thing here. That didn't work. Okay, let's try something different. Or this worked. Let's see how far, how big we can make it, right? How can we scale, right? So scale is going to be one of the things that you hear a lot if you get into manufacturing and processing, or if you own a company, right? It's always about scaling, right? How do I scale up? Because everybody wants to have a business, right? Or if they, not everybody, but whoever wants to be entrepreneurs, the aim at the end of the day is for you to have a big company, right?
Like, presently Amazon, what Amazon is presently.
Okay.
doing. Amazon is partnering, basically the African market.
Yes,
Presently is actually vast because of our number is beginning to expand.
that's right.
So right now in Amazon, they are trying to break even into the local,
Mhm.
presently in Nigeria, before I came into the US, most shipping or most
That's you.
processing, you can bring in your market through Amazon platform.
Okay,
because
mhm.
it is like an SME.
Mhm.
So that's like the process they have gone through over
Right.
the years. Because
Mhm.
it was difficult to buy things from Amazon.
Mhm.
But right now, they now have in their local countries,
Yeah.
they're beginning to partner, like, oh, you can order from Amazon in the US, or you have someone delivering that package
Right.
down in the,
At the local level.
yeah, and just like it is over here, maybe
Okay.
you want to get a grading or something, you
Yeah.
can, it was difficult to get
get
those
it.
stuff, but
Mhm.
right now you can get
You
it.
can
So
get
that's like the change evolving we
Mhm.
have done in Amazon presently.
Right,
And,
to-
most Walmart is beginning to bring up that concept
Okay.
into
Into Nigeria.
into the market.
Okay.
The African, they're trying to open windows
Open.
to African
Mhm.
United States partnership.
Okay.
there are a new concept that means franchise.
Okay,
It's like making any brand global.
right, yeah, exactly.
Just like Burger King. Burger King just came into, most
Yes.
of Nigeria.
I think you told me that last class.
Yeah,
I didn't know that there was
Yeah,
a
they are
Burger King.
presently now in Nigeria. Even Starbucks is coming to Nigeria.
Yeah,
so-
Already Nigeria.
Alright,
Yeah.
so basically, although it's just like one shop, Burger King is beginning to, most of them are beginning to come into the African market.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, which area? Oh, that has to do with a lot with how Amazon works, right?
yeah.
So because the way Amazon works, they have to be entrenched in the local community because they have to know the local vendors. Because even here in the United States, the way Amazon works is local vendors, local contracts, has 1 million of them. Okay, that's how Amazon is able to do Prime and deliver things. If you order in 2 hours, we can deliver it to you, right? And within the next hour or 2 hours, because they have local vendors, right? And so because of that, you get more access to the consumer, you meet the consumer demand, but you also kind of put your fingers in everything, right? And as they start stretching out to global, into Africa, into, the Middle East, into wherever, right? That's taking time because you gotta do market research.
Time and money.
Time, that's right, time and money, right? So that takes time. And you have to understand the consumer, the community that you're going into in order to make it work, right? So with Walmart, which is a great case as far as a company that went into a country and it didn't work. Okay, and that's why they probably taking their time with going into different places. Africa, got its own culture, got its own thing, different ways of doing stuff. But Walmart tried to go into Canada, and I think I told my last class this story.
Yeah.
Walmart tried to go into Canada years back, maybe 10 years back now, or 15. All right, and they got kicked out of Canada. Okay, not kicked out because they broke any rules like that. They just weren't making money. They literally had to close the doors. All right. Anybody guess why they had to close the doors at Walmart in Canada?
I forgot the name of the player of the market there. They're the biggest player of the.
Yeah, that played a role there, but it's something else.
The market.
What about the market?
Market is different than the market in Canada.
Yeah.
Strategy. You cannot do the USA strategy
Okay,
in Canada
okay,
or in or Europe.
or anywhere,
Yeah.
all right, for the most part,
So
okay?
you need to change your strategy in the
Mhm.
best way. going to-
Exactly, right? So what Walmart didn't do was they didn't really do very good market research. Because for them, when you look at Canada, it looks like the US, right? If you look at Europe, it looks like the US. Okay, so we could take this strategy that we're using here in the US and apply it in Canada. Well, you just can't look at the demographics, you have to look at the attitude, all right? Canadians saw Walmart as a poor man's store. Okay, and it wasn't that it's not, Walmart's not a poor man's store, it's just someplace you get stuff discounted and at a fair price. And it's the same brand, it's the same thing for the most part, right? But the attitude that we have here towards Walmart as compared to Canadians is totally different, right? For Canadians, it's like, I can afford better. I don't need to go to Walmart, right? Because it's an impression, it's a perception, right? If you go to Walmart in Canada, people be like, you cheap, you don't got no money, you're broke, you're poor. When you could have just drove into Walmart with in your Mercedes, right? Or your Bentley, right? They'll be like, oh, you're poor, right? Because you're going to Walmart. Here, that's not what it is here. Here, you go to Walmart, like, I'm trying to save some money, right? Forget what everybody else is talking about. So it didn't work in Canada because of the attitude that they had towards Walmart and seeing it as sort of a place where only poor people go that can't afford to buy better, right? But if you know anything about Walmart, stuff is all the same, okay? So it's very specific as to, how you approach your change management and you try to implement new changes when you try to get into the global market, right? You have to make an analysis as to what the culture is like, or what acceptable things are gonna be like, even simple things as colors, right? Or just symbols that we use with our hands, right? Those things are very important to the consumer and to the country you're going to, right? And it'll have an impact on whether the business makes it or not, okay? The other thing is that the person that you have leading the change, okay? The change leader, what does that person look like? And I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about what characteristics, what elements does that person need to have to be a good change leader, right?
Good focus.
Focus,
Good
flexible,
Leadership skills.
leadership skills,
Detail oriented.
detail oriented, what else?
He can change.
Updated, yeah, you have to stay current, right? So when it comes to change, you gonna say something, Hardy? Okay. When it comes to change, there's a lot of different faces or images we talk about, okay? Just like an organization, with different people that do different things that are not on their job description. Right? You guys understand what I'm saying? So you have your positional leadership, right? The guy that's hired, that's your boss, the director, whatever, or the manager, right? But there's always somebody else who's been there forever, who knows everything, that you go to that say, you know, I don't want to go to the boss. I'm gonna go ask, I'm gonna ask Jim. Jim, I don't know what's going on here. Can you help me? Oh yeah, let me show you, right? That person is instrumental in your change, right? But there's also somebody that's like, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? Like, I'm having trouble at home, I'm having, some issues or whatever. They're there to kind of sit down and talk to you and just kind of get you through things, right? There's another person that's there that's gonna be like, oh, don't worry about it, you'll get it, you're great, all right? They are kind of your cheerleaders, sort of, right? All those particular people are different faces of change. Okay, because throughout the change process, you're going to need different types of elements, different types of characteristics to carry you through. You just can't have one person who fills all this role of change manager, because it's just too much going on in change, right? So who the change manager, considering the role of the change leader, right? What kind of person are they? Are they there for support? Are they there, technically speaking, are they adept and very knowledgeable, right? Are they just someone there that is a motivational piece? Are they someone there that's a more of a figurative piece, right? Is it like the monarchy, right? Everybody understands how the monarchy goes, right? The Queen and King of England and all that good stuff. You know they had no real power, right? They're just there, kind of hanging out, kicking it. Some say so, some formalities, right? But they're just that, formalities. They don't have any real power, okay? But they're there as a inspiration for the country, right? There's a reason why people are so interested in the royals. I can care less about what Meghan and what's Harry, what they're doing, right? But a lot of other people care. Okay, what's going on with the royals, right? No power, they just care, right? About certain things. So we all play a different position. But who is in charge, right? Who's the person that you're going to put in charge of change is important, right? Because you need to understand who that person is, right? When it came down to Sears, all right, Sears is, now if you go to Mission Valley, Fashion Valley, you go to Fashion Valley and also UTC in La Jolla, there's a Sears, okay? They're not around like they used to be, all right? Sears used to be what's the good Target when I grew up. There was Sears and there was Woolworth. Okay, Woolworth is Sears. Sears is a store like Target.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like Target, right? Close enough. Okay. JCPenney. Yeah, like department store, like a Nordstrom's, but not as fancy. All right.
Like no groceries, but
No groceries.
not some clothes and some gifts.
It's like Nordstrom's. That's the best. Yeah, most apparel, retail. Yeah, no, it's not like Walmart or even Target's probably a bad example too. It's more like Nordstrom's, like a department store, right? You find it in the mall. You can find one in the mall now, right? But Sears used to be very, very popular. It used to be the main thing, right? And there's one reason why Sears was so dominant to begin with, right? They made one change that nobody else made when they first started, right? Does anybody know anything about the history of Sears? Anybody know a little bit about marketing, marketing background, marketing history? Have the catalog, okay? It was that thick, right? So Sears was the first company to ever come out with a catalog. In the catalog, they had a picture of the item, how much it costs, all the dimensions, right? How long it would take to get there, you know, kind of just a description, right? It was, I think the catalog was thick, it had everything. It was this thick. And you'd go to the little country store or whatever the little supply store was in your town, and you tell them, hey, it's in the catalog, I want to order this. And they would say, okay, cool. And then they would put a Sears order in, and they would send it in the mail, right? Or send it through Wells Fargo, because Wells Fargo was the first one to kind of do all that Pony Express kind of thing. And so they kind of would send it off, and then you wait, and then a couple of weeks, a month, maybe a month and a half, depending on how long the horses took, all right? They would drop the stuff off, and oh, your order came in. And they go get their order, and they put it together at home. Then they have the new cabinet, or they have the new dress, or whatever the case may be. Sears was the first company to do it. That's why Sears was that. Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. It was big. It was about maybe everybody seen phone books, right? You've seen a phone book, right? It's about 2 phone books. Yeah, wrapped in plastic. You can hit somebody and kill them with this thing. Okay, it was huge. It was humongous. Okay, but they had everything you could possibly want. All right, and that's how Sears got their dominance. All right, that's how Sears, because Sears has been around for probably over 100 years, probably 100 and I don't know, 120 years. There's only one company that's been around longer than Sears. Anybody know? No. Woolworth, yeah, no, not in the States. Yeah.
Do they still exist?
Who?
Exist?
Yeah, you can, it's right here across the street, wherever Mission Valley's at over there. Yeah, this one over here. Yeah. There's only one company one apparel company or one retail store, department store, I guess, that's been around longer than Sears. You guys know what it is. You heard of it. There's one here at the mall. No. Macy's. Okay? Macy's has been around Macy's has been around about 150 years. Okay, they've been around for the longest time, right? But even Macy's is closing, right? Yeah. The Macy's you see here is nothing like the Macy's it used to be. Macy's used to be big time department store, big time store, right? And then they slowly, right? But why did Macy's start shrinking and losing their market share? Does anybody know? They didn't change, right? But what didn't they change? Like they didn't change, but what? The technology, okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah, I can see that. They don't have an online presence, right?
Yeah.
Goes along with the technology. Okay.
Same thing, like, because Macy is like selling the things of other companies, so nowadays technology is good, so people prefer to buy directly from the.
From the manufacturer, or from the distributor, whatever the case may be, right? Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Macy's basically started, kind of losing its focus, just sitting on its laurels, right? Resting on its laurels. It was probably one of the most successful places they can go to, but Macy's tried to get into a certain area of the retail market that it just couldn't keep up with, right? So, for instance, everybody familiar with Ralph Lauren, right? Polo, okay?
Yeah.
Anybody familiar with Purple Label? Purple Label. Anybody ever heard of Purple Label? Purple Label. No? Okay. So Purple Label is Ralph Lauren. Okay? Ralph Lauren makes it. But it's the high end of Ralph Lauren. $3,000 suits, $10,000 dresses, the stuff you see on runways. Okay? And so Macy's wanted to get into the retail market where the consumer could buy designer clothes, but not pay a whole bunch of money for it. Okay, they just didn't do it well. Okay, they had so many different brands, and what people were expecting for the money they were paying, they weren't getting, okay? And so slowly, still people stopped buying from Macy's, stopped going there. Other stores stopped popping up, H&M, Zara,
Yeah.
Benetton, Gap. Gap is a great example. Old Navy, right? Banana Republic. Okay, see where I'm going with this? Right?
No,
So it had no real identity, yes, but at the same time, people were not going to Macy's anymore because they were trying to get into a market that they didn't belong to. They need to stay higher. Anybody been to the Macy's in New York City? Right? That Macy's is huge and it has all high-end luxury items. Okay? You're not gonna find nothing cheap there, okay? You go to Macy's here, different story.
Yeah.
Okay? And so that change they made wasn't a good change for them. Same thing with Sears. The problem with Sears is that Sears got greedy. Sears was like, okay, we got this store, we're doing all these things, but now we want to get into the housing market. We want to do insurance. We want to do investments. We want to do something else. At one point, Sears had 20 different spin-offs of things that were not related. Right, it just impossible to control, right? Because to be successful, you have different things. You have to have shared resources. Each thing can't have its own resources. There has to be a core of resources that are used, all of them, in order to be efficient, right? For all these things to go. And so what happened is Sears started realizing like they didn't have enough expertise in investments. They didn't understand how the construction and the housing market went. They didn't understand how, automotive or mechanic works or, that kind of thing went, how much it costs to buy a tire or replace a transmission, right? They didn't understand all that, but they went into all those industries and they started losing their market share in their primary area. And then, people start coming up with different places to go to, different competitors, right? They start losing their market share, people start going other places, and next thing you know, Sears is now pretty much extinct. Okay, had to close their doors, right? So again, an example of not all change is good change. Okay, sometimes you have to stick to what you know. You have to, before you do any change, first thing is to ask is, do I need to change?
The same implication is the same thing about the toy that you're.
Oh, Toys R Us, they're very good.
Same problem.
Very,
They had.
yes, they had the same
They
problem.
had
Mhm.
the same problems and it was too much for them to handle. They had to close
Yeah.
down. Babies are yours, they were all the same.
Yeah.
Brother and sister.
Yeah.
All their stores are shut down.
Shut down,
because
yeah.
of the
Too much, yeah.
Too much, putting their hands into so many things.
That's a very good example, right? For those of us that are familiar with Toys R Us, all right? You have to remember the commercials. All right, they had all these commercials on TV, they had Babies R Us and all that stuff closed because they try to spin off into areas that they were not familiar with.
Yeah.
Okay, that you don't have the resources for, you don't have the knowledge base for, right? This is why it's important that you understand the skill sets that your workplace possesses. Okay, because you just can't throw anybody into a position and say, well, now you run Babies R Us. I don't know anything about babies. I don't know about baby clothes. You got the wrong guy. Okay, you need to find somebody else that's a little bit well. Yes, am I a good manager? Maybe, sure. All right. But if somebody works for me and they show me this baby outfit and they say this is the best baby outfit in the world, I'm like, okay, looks good to me, whatever you say. All right. Well, that's not true. Okay, I have no expertise, I have no understanding, I have no knowledge in that particular industry. And so you start getting into these issues where you're wasting money and you don't really know what you're doing. Okay, and so eventually that's gonna catch up with you, right? So Sears had that problem, right? And making sure that, really judging the success of a change initiative. The change didn't work out, and so they had to close. Kmart, you guys bought a Kmart, or another store. That was same thing. Yeah, kind of the same thing. Yeah.
But they're all the same, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
all by the same.
Gap, Navy, Banana Republic, all same store. Okay, just different levels. Right. So you gotta remember, this is how most again, it goes back to companies, they want to be big, right? They want to grow, right? They want to scale, right? But in order to scale, you just can't be at one price point. You have to be at multiple price points, okay? So if you are looking at, let's just say you want a Mercedes, right? I can go get a Mercedes here for about 30,000, right? And say I have a Mercedes, okay? That's how they do it. Build that Mercedes for 20,000. It meets the consumer needs. It meets our needs for expanding, right? Everybody's happy and we're gonna make money, right? But I also need you to build the Mercedes up here, right? We have the A class Mercedes. We have the Maybach or the S series or the CL series, right? We have a Mercedes that costs $500,000, okay? And we have a Mercedes that costs, $30,000. That's how you get into the market, right? But it takes time, it takes scale, right? It takes change at each level to make sure that you can get into the market and be productive. You can make money, right? Using shared resources again, right, to build different cars at different price points, right? So you see all the car dealerships do it, right? All the car manufacturers, as you say, do it. This cars at different price points because I want to tap into the whole market, but that all required change because it wasn't like that before. Okay, before it was more or less, hey, it's either an American car, a domestic car, or it's a foreign car. Okay, we still have that now, but even within the, each market, right? We don't necessarily look at it that way anymore. We kind of look at, okay, within each manufacturer's wheelhouse, we say, okay, what's the high end and what's the low end, right? We all know the different manufacturers, right? Kia's from where? Anybody know what Kia is made at? Korea, right? Toyota is what? Japanese, right? BMW, Mercedes, German, right? Volkswagen, German, right? Porsche, German, right? Who? Italy? No. Who owns Porsche? Anybody know who owns Porsche? But which company owns Porsche? Volkswagen. Volkswagen owns Porsche. Bugatti, and what else? Lamborghini, right? Oh, yes, Audi too. Okay.
All the same car.
Yeah, they're all the same car. Toyota, right?
Toyota, Lexus,
That's it, same car.
same car.
Okay,
Honda and Hyundai. Yeah, they are all the
Same.
same car.
same cars, right? Mazdas, same cars, Toyota, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you see where they made changes to where we can get into different markets, but we are making sure we use the same resource or share resources to build cars for different levels of customers. Okay, that takes time. That takes an understanding of the market. That also takes people to embrace the change and say, you know what, I get what you're doing, I understand, and I'm going to, take this on. Because there's different levels of acceptance for change. You're gonna find that you have a change management project and say, one person would be like, oh, great, I love the change, and accept it. You have another person who's gonna be like, I don't care. What do we need to do? Make the change, don't make the change, it doesn't matter to me, I'll be here tomorrow. Okay? You have somebody else who's gonna be like, I don't want no parts of this change, I'm not happy about it, I don't like it, and they're gonna fight it the whole way. Okay? And so change management becomes more difficult because you have different types of people that are involved in it, right? And whether or not it's successful really depends on these people, right? And how they interact and how we, as a group, deal with each other, right? And what resources do we have, right? Who is the change leader and what kind of things are they bringing to the table? Are they a nurturer? Are they the director? Are they a navigator? Are they, a caretaker? Okay, and all these things, all these particular faces have different kind of characteristics or elements that they bring to the table, right? Detroit, the last thing that you talk about as far as the companies, right? And what's in Detroit? Anybody know what's in Detroit? Why is Detroit significant?
It's like
Say it again.
Then auditing company.
Auditing?
Yeah.
No.
It's like auditing, accounting.
Yeah.
It's
No,
the big four.
That's Deloitte.
That's Detroit.
Oh,
Yeah, this is Detroit. This is the city.
Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, Detroit, Michigan. Why is Detroit, Michigan so automotive, right? Detroit used to be the automotive capital, basically of the world for a while, okay? At least for the United States. All the cars manufactured are based in Detroit. Detroit used to be a very, very rich city. Okay, people making $50, $60 an hour, beautiful houses, all this good stuff. Okay, what happened in Detroit is that government came down, legislation came down. There's a little jealousy, amongst the people there between, there are a lot of race dynamics that played a role into how things were in Detroit and why we are in the state that we're in. Anybody been to Detroit before? Anybody? All right. I'm not gonna say go visit it, but it's not the most pleasant place in the world. Okay, it used to be way better, right? But because of the changes that people made because of who they were, right? Because of, again, race, right? It was Caucasian, they were African Americans, and they, at that point, things weren't really good for, civil rights and all that good stuff. Okay, so when it came down to it, Detroit started losing their manufacturing presence, right? Because the manufacturers were coming out of Detroit, they were pulling out because it was just too much stuff to deal with. I got to deal with the political system in Detroit. I got to deal with the political system on the government or federal level. I got to deal with the communities, right? So now, do I need to have a certain thing for Black people and I have another thing for white people? You guys can't work together in the same place, right? I need to build 8 bathrooms because each person needs a different bathroom. Like the white person uses the bathroom because the Black person uses it, right? I'm not gonna eat next to him because he's Black, or I'm not gonna eat next to him because he's white, right? I'm not going to talk to them, or she can't be in charge because she's a woman. Okay, those are the kind of issues they had. And so instead of saying, you know what, let's try to fix it because it was too much, they left. Okay, they left. They minimized their footprint. Now they still have, I think GM is still in Detroit. I think Chrysler maybe is still in Detroit, but they're very, very small presence in Detroit. It's basically like one of the poorest places in the United States. Okay, top 5. Right, it's gone down. Huh? Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, Detroit, Michigan. Okay. And so again, the change that they wanted to see, all right, in trying to rehabilitate the city, the state of the manufacturing didn't go well, right? And so now you have manufacturing that's all over the place, right? You don't have, the manufacturing hub in Detroit anymore. Now it's in Alabama, right? Or it's in California, or it's in, where? Texas, all right? Okay, you got all these different places where they manufacture cars because it makes more sense, all right? There's a reason why, Qualcomm, no, not Qualcomm, let's say, the Chargers, right? Anybody familiar with the San Diego Chargers, or the LA Chargers now, the football team, right? They left, right? There used to be a basketball team here too, the LA Clippers. Used to be in San Diego first. There's the San Diego Clippers, right? They're not here anymore. They're in LA now, right? They left by that time a long time ago, right? But at the same point, the reason they left is because the city was not going to work with them. Okay, the city was going to give them any money. The city did not want to necessarily change at its core, because what makes it hard for, not hard, but what is the thing that people come to California for, specifically San Diego? What did they come to San Diego? The weather, mainly, right? Would you say to study? A little bit, right? They come to study a little bit, right? But they come to study and they know it's a party school, right? It's a party town, okay? San Diego's for young people, At the end of the day, San Diego's a young city, okay? Old people, not old people, but older people, it's not necessarily built for older people. It's for younger folks, right? But the city itself understands what their resource is, right? What their real niche is. And it's the beach. It's the weather. It's everything else except for sports. Okay? But you have to understand why that is. Okay? It's not that we don't like sports, right? We like sports in San Diego. But why do you think that San Diego can't retain certain things as a city?
They have,
Wait, what you say? In transient, okay? Christina, what are you gonna say?
because they have the national league
Who?
for sport. So when you build like a sport,
Uh-huh.
and you build, teams for like, Arab people and African people and white people, that will make, a problem in the city.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because we have,
Oh, because we have problems in the city. As far as race, you mean?
yeah,
Because of sports?
Yeah.
Hmm,
Is it something?
maybe I'm not getting, maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but I don't think that's what you're trying to say or trying to convey to me. But I think I kind of understand what you're trying to say.
but the sport, based like races.
Oh, I think I'll get you saying. Yeah, I mean, yes, certain sports are predominantly a certain race, right? Like football is kind of like, yeah, 60-40, okay? Basketball is probably like 80-20, right? Hockey is probably like 90-10, right? Certain demographics, right? But that's not, no. Not it. No, it's what Christina said. We're transient here, okay? Anybody know what we mean by transient? Nope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
No. Yeah, everyone here came to San Diego for something. None of us here were born in San Diego. Okay? That's very unusual. Think about it. It's unusual. Yeah, and we don't stay.
I know people that were.
I know, yeah, of course. Yeah,
raised-
absolutely, yeah. Right, not many. Not many, right?
I agree because most times, from my own perspective, I don't think I remain can live.
Right, no,
Yeah.
right. No, yeah, and I love San Diego, but most people don't want to stay. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
If it was less cheaper, we could.
No, it's not about less people, it's just,
Something about it, huh?
yeah, it's just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no diversity, there's no reach.
I don't agree.
No, I'm telling you. Yeah.
I mean, it all depends, right? We're all from different countries, different places, so diversity is gonna be interesting conversation, because if you really think about, like, aside from the United States, and if you maybe London or Europe, right? Most places you go to are very homogeneous, right? When you go to Africa, for the most part, you're gonna see black folks, right? You go down South Africa, you see more white, but okay. You go to Brazil, you're gonna see Brazilians. You're not gonna see too many others, right? You go to Japan, you see Japanese folks, okay? There's other cultures there, I've had a lot of black friends in Japan, a lot of black friends in Jordan, right? But they're not the regular. You know what I'm saying? Here in the United States is different. You don't know who you're gonna run into in the United States. You sit next to, like we're in this classroom now, nobody is from San Diego. Nobody's even here from California. Okay, not even California. Okay, so you see how diverse it is, right? And because of the diversity in this transient type of state, it makes it hard to build a fan base. Okay, because no one's committed to the San Diego Chargers. Like, I could care less. My team is New York Giants because I'm from New York. Okay, that's my football team. Like, I'll go watch the Chargers game, but I'm not gonna die for them. Right, exactly. Nobody stays here, right? Exactly. And so that may seem like a minor point, but it's an important one for the Chargers, right? Because that's how they make money, right? You have to build a loyal fan base. If you go to Green Bay, or if you go to New York, or, if you bump into somebody in New York, they're probably New Yorker. They've lived there their whole life. Their grandmother lived there. Their great-grandmother lived here. Great-great-grandmother got off the boat at Ellis Island and been here ever since, okay? So you have this kind of this permanent or fixed roots in a particular place, and you built up this, this connection with a certain place, right? And you're gonna stay. Here in San Diego, nobody stays, right?
Los Angeles is the pizza big of
Yeah, LA is different.
yeah, more like very.
But this goes back to the conversation you're talking about the diversity, right? You compare LA demographics to San Diego demographics, totally different. LA is like a major city with multiple cultures, multiple ethnicities in it, right? San Diego, it's a pretty five. On one hand, kind of tell you who's here. Okay, Right.
Their kids can't afford to live here, so.
Right.
kids generally go fall somewhere else.
somewhere else, right?
And
And
they
they
come back.
and they stay there, right?
Um,
You know, spread. Right. So the city's trying to change that. Okay, the city's putting efforts in and trying to make it more diverse. This is why schools are important, right? Because we have SDSU, USD, UCSD, right? But again, the problem is that we can't get people to stay. Okay, if you can't get people to stay, then I don't have a real market, and so I can't necessarily afford to stay either as a team, as an organization, right? The Padres are here, okay, but who knows how long they'll be here for, okay? Eventually, they're probably gonna leave too, because San Diego doesn't need sports team to survive, because people don't come here for that, okay? But they're trying to change that. All right, so Detroit, all right, another example of something going down, okay? All right. Now, all right, so why change is not easy, okay? For a number of reasons, all right? Every change has its own characteristics, has its own merits, has its own downside and upside. And so you have to be able to analyze the change first. Like I said, do we need to change? If we do need to change, what is the appropriate change? How do we go about doing it, right? What are the specific steps in doing it? How long is it gonna take? How much money is it gonna cost you to change? And what's the probability the change is going to stick? Right? Those are all questions that go into change management and understanding like the whole dynamic, the whole process of changing, and is the change gonna really benefit the company at the end of the day, right? Because you and I, we'll get into a company and we'll stay there, but for the most part, most people leave the companies that they first start off with. They're there 5, 10 years maybe, and they leave. Because if I can't move up, I'm not doing anything, necessarily interesting or new on a regular basis, most people end up leaving, right? But the change as far as, the leadership or the people that are vested, okay, they're trying to grow the company. They're trying to look at the company from a sense of what can I do to make it better, right? But again, it takes time. It's like turning a boat or a ship. I know you probably heard this phrase, this quote or something to that effect before, right? It takes a long time to turn a ship. Anybody been on a cruise before? Nobody's been on a cruise. Nobody's been on a ship before? Well, I know, Christina has it. Nobody's been on a cruise? How about a canoe?
Yeah.
A rowboat?
Yeah, I was doing the small shit, but I just wanted to, it wasn't moving, I just wanted to.
Stagnant.
It was stagnant? Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna tell you from personal experience, all right? A ship takes a long time to turn. Okay, if you see a ship and it says, we got to turn left, that's another hour or two before we actually turn left. Okay, because it takes time to turn, you gotta turn the whole thing around, it's 20-ton at least thing. You gotta turn it around, and you just can't turn it like a car. It doesn't work that way, it takes time, right? And different components within that process have to all work together to make that turn happen, right? We don't want to have the Titanic, right? It took a bad turn, right? And so you see that the change takes a long time. Companies want to change, but it's not easy. And what you're afraid of is that you start making this change and then it becomes obsolete, right? That's what happens to a lot of companies. They start to implement change and the change takes so long, by the time the change is made, it's no longer relevant. And so now we have to either keep this change here for the next 4 or 5 years and try to make the best of it, or we scratch it and say we just lost $20 million and let's start over, right? But we don't want to start over because the way we were doing it before wasn't really good, right? It took us too long, right? So change has to be really evaluated in the sense that you have all the resources, you have the time, and you have the right people in place for the right change, okay? All right, so I'm gonna end here. Make sure you look at chapter 1 and 2. They're pretty short, not really long. We covered a number of things here that are on the PowerPoint. Just go review them, take a look at them. Make sure you got everything you need, and then I'll see you next Monday. Okay? LE, quiz. All right, good. Get in contact with your case study group members, okay? And if you have any question, anything, email me, or anything like that, okay?
But we can have access to the case study, question.
No, I probably open it week 3. Yeah, unless you want to see, I can open it if you want to see it now. If you want to, I can open it. That's fine, I don't care.
Yeah, just.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
That's running on.
Yeah, get a head start, okay. Christine, you got it?
No, I'm good.
No, I need to talk to you.
Oh.
No, yeah, you guys can go. I just can't talk to you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, see you guys next week, okay?
For the case study? Yeah.
That deliberate?
Not necessarily, no. No,
Okay, all right.
no, I run Paul Hospital.
I figured, yeah,
Thought I would have a day to do it.
yeah, okay, all right. As long as you're good, you're really fine.
I thought I thought for sure to have a time to do it.
Yeah, if you want to, you can. It's up to you, but you're great, fine, that's why I was like, no.
No, like I said, I'm kind of do it. I'm not that.
No.
I hate that. I actually, like, I had like a moral issue with it, and I was thinking really bugged me, because like, I just don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't have time, like, by the time I got home to do it, I was 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing it.
No, I
No.
can't do it.
I just wanted to check with you and make sure.
And not delivered, does that make sense?
Yes,
But now, like, and I didn't really like understand, like, how much time it would be.
yeah,
So like, I just started too late. I started too late.
yeah, that's okay.
With everything I had going on,
I-
but now, like, I know now, like. you know, so-
Way early, yeah. Yeah, and it didn't have to be long too, it's like I said, 5, 6 slides.
That's what I
most.
didn't understand, so I think I was sitting down and like, sort of.
Yeah.
Do.
Right.
Some of my residents, and I think listening to you tonight, I'm like,
Yeah, you could have.
could super easy off of my paper. I mean, very generic, but I at least could have like handed something in.